Hurricane Headquarters, sponsored by Entergy.
Southeast Texas, hope you're doing well. Continue to watch strengthening Tropical Storm Francine. I'm Chief Meteorologist Patrick Vaugh, and as you can see, an eye starting to form to the south and east of Brownsville. This is the latest observation. It's got winds of 65 miles an hour and is expected to become a hurricane later tonight. Lopsided hurricane, where the strongest storms are off towards the north and east of the center. And look at the devoid of shower and thunderstorm activity to the east side of the center. This is expected to reconfigure itself as we head towards tonight and becomes a hurricane. And as you can see, the lack of thunderstorm activity on the east side of the storm. Lots of cold cloud tops off to the north and to the west of the center. We're also watching quite a bit of dry air to the northwest of the storm over Texas. That could be entrained or ingested by that storm. That's what we're hoping, and that would keep the storm weaker than what is currently forecast, or at least bring it to a weakening trend as it heads towards, generally towards Louisiana. So we're at the latest 4 p.m. advisory. The newest one from the Hurricane Center will come in momentarily. But again, we expect it to turn to the north and become a hurricane overnight with winds of 85 miles an hour by 1 p.m. tomorrow afternoon. Then what we've been talking about for days is the strong upper level shear from the southwest ahead of an approaching trough will cause this to pick up forward speed and move off towards the north and east. So it could go anywhere within this cone of uncertainty. Still, most of the modeling says southwest Louisiana at this time as a Cat 2. But again, that's not set in stone. And if it can ingest some of that dry air into our area, plus the water temperatures have been cooling over the nearshore waters, and that southwesterly wind shear at around 250 millibars, 25 plus, closer to 30,000 foot up. There's strong shear out of the southwest at some, let's say 35, 40, even 50 mile per hour winds aloft. So that could help to weaken it. So gonna give you the latest what we're thinking. Obviously, wind and rains are going to be an issue here locally in southeast Texas. And it looks like mainly during the day on Wednesday, late morning, mid-morning, let's say, through the mid part of the day, and also in through the mid-afternoon hours before things start improving. Here locally in southeast Texas, we expect 1 to 3 inches of rainfall. Lesser amounts up in the lakes, heavier rains towards the triangle. We expect low-end tropical storm force winds here in the triangle. We're talking Jefferson, Chambers, or I should say Jefferson, Orange, back over in towards southern sections of Jasper, Newton counties, where we could see some 35, 40, maybe 45 mile per hour wind gusts. Otherwise, there's your tropical storm force warnings for generally the triangle, southern Jasper, southern Newton counties, and of course, hurricane warnings extend from Sabine Pass, east of Sabine Pass, over towards Cameron and over towards Vermilion Parish. But that's where we're at right now. As far as the storm surge, not going to be terrible, but of course, across for the coastline from Sabine Pass to High Island, that's where we're going to be seeing that storm surge. And modeling continues to show through 7 p.m., and it'll be out of here by 7 p.m., a half an inch to an inch, 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 inches here in the triangle. Obviously, heavier rains closer to where the center decides to make landfall, and we still like over to the east of Jennings and over towards Pelican Island, maybe towards Vermilion Bay at the present time. But again, this is not set in stone, but this is what we're thinking right now. Otherwise, this is just one model. We expect tropical storm force winds here in the triangle. The worst of the weather obviously going to be over towards Lafayette, over towards Jennings, and also in towards Acadiana at this time. So that's the very latest on Tropical Storm Francine. Do we have any questions, guys? We're going to take your questions.
Paula Roberts from Orange wants to know if Orange is going to be seeing any tornadoes.
With any landfalling hurricane, tornadoes are always going to be an issue. Wouldn't be surprised if a tornado watch is issued for our area and also into southwest Louisiana. Yes.
We don't have anything else.
Okay, that's the very latest on Tropical Storm Francine, soon to be a hurricane. And we'll go through this real quick. Once again, the storm.
Lasha Heron wants to know about Galveston.
Galveston, lesser impacts over towards Galveston. No warnings that I've seen over Galveston. Doesn't mean you're not going to see some wind and some rain. I think we'll see worse weather here in the Triangle rather than over towards Galveston and High Island. Could see some storm surge levels there. We're taking your questions, so chime in. What else do we have?
Essence Wesley asks if there is any chance it'll turn closer this way.
Sure, that's what that cone means. It's a cone of uncertainty. It could go anywhere. Let me go back. Anywhere in between that cone. That's the uncertainty part of it. It could go the north side of this cone. It could go to the south side of the cone. That's where we're at right now. Yes.
Bring me up.
But we think with that shear, it's generally going to be off to the east right now.
Kate Saunter wants to know when the brunt of it is hitting.
Hey, Kate. Looks like mid-morning Wednesday through noon and into the first half of the afternoon hours. So roughly 9 a.m. Wednesday to about 3 p.m. Wednesday, because look at that, by 1 p.m. Wednesday, it's already very close to making landfall. So we should be seeing improving weather here in southeast Texas by mid-afternoon, certainly by the evening hours.
Bethany Stanford wants to know what to expect in Beaumont.
Beaumont, again, we've been talking about this. Low-end tropical storm force winds, that's what the impact is. We'll go over that again here in Beaumont. We expect the worst of it to occur by, say, 9 a.m. Wednesday morning through 3 p.m. 1 to 3, probably 2 to 3 inches here in Beaumont, and tropical storm force wind gusts. That means 39 miles an hour or higher are possible.
Beth Courtney wants to know about the storm surge in LaBelle.
LaBelle is not going to have a problem with storm surge. Now, the bayous are going to back up, but the storm surge is going to be mainly along the coastline from, say, High Island back over towards Sabine Pass, what that means. So again, with the northeasterly winds, that should help limit the storm surge.
Jody Carlos says that her kids go to Sabine Pass School. Do you think they're going to be going to school on Wednesday?
Probably not. That's just my opinion. I can't speak for them though, but that's what I would think. I don't think they would have school on Wednesday.
Lasha Heron says, thank you. I'm traveling from Orange to Galveston tomorrow.
I think you're okay on tomorrow. It's Wednesday, really. That's we're going to see the worst of the weather.
All right. Joshua Knuth is asking about Lumberton, Texas.
What would you like to know? The worst of the weather, 1 to 3 inches. Tropical storm force winds are possible, but you're not under a warning currently. So maybe some wind gusts, 25 to maybe 40 miles an hour in Lumberton.
Cody Shelton wants to know what would need to happen for the storm to push further west.
Well, it needs to go for it to go further west. It is dependent upon the turn. The big turn is expected to occur coming up tomorrow. See, there it turns north. There's the turn. If this is further to the north and west, then that's going to be an issue, because then that would be closer to our area. So that's what we're seeing right now. It's the big turn coming up tonight and tomorrow morning, really, that will impact this. But again, with that strong southwesterly wind flow, we're really hoping it's further to the east, and that's a possibility. Other questions? We're taking questions.
Brianna Armstrong wants to know what to expect in Jasper, Texas.
Okay, in Jasper, you're not under any warnings. It looks like some 20 to maybe 30, 35 mile per hour wind gusts, 1 to 2 inches there.
RJ Powell is asking how bad Port Arthur and Pleasure
Port
Island
Arthur
will be
and
affected.
Pleasure Island will probably see the worst of the weather. I think you're definitely going to see 2 to 3, maybe 4 inches of rainfall, but the winds, it all depends on the track. At this present time, we think certainly tropical storm force winds are almost a guarantee in Port Arthur. Again, tropical storm force winds are 39 miles an hour up to 73. We're comfortable with saying 40, maybe 45 miles an hour in Port Arthur. Could be higher depending upon if this shifts anywhere to the east or west.
Alvaro Toledo wants to know if there's any chances it's going to get stronger.
It's always a possibility, but again, the water temperatures have been cooling. That's the good news. There's also drier air over Texas. You enjoyed the weekend, didn't you? Lots of dry air. That could be ingested or sucked into that hurricane, and it could weaken. If you remember Hurricane Rita back in 2005, it was a Cat 5, the strongest on record. What happened? It sucked in or ingested dry air, and it fizzled. That's what I'm hoping will happen, and that's a possibility. Plus the water temperatures are cooler. They're at, what, 78 degrees at Texas Point right now. That's good. And also we've got lots of wind shear, or at least forecasted to be lots of wind shear along the upper Texas Gulf Coast by the time this moves into focus. So that could help to limit strengthening, and there's even the potential that this would weaken as it approaches the coastline. That's what I'm hoping happens.
Carol Griffin Lopez is asking if Orange should evacuate.
I'm not going to make that call, and I won't speak for Orange County officials. You will probably see tropical storm force wind gusts there, though, and also 2 to 3 inches of rainfall.
Renee Bolin Bragg is asking if it takes a turn and comes in closer to Beaumont, what would we expect with rain and wind?
You would certainly see hurricane force wind gusts. If it takes a turn and goes right down this northern white line, then you're going to see hurricane force wind gusts, if not stronger. So we're hoping it stays down the coastline. But I have seen the bulk of the ensembles. I have looked over numerous models. I like Acadiana in this area right now, but that's not a guarantee. I'm just saying that's where it probably will end up.
Beth Courtney wants to know if we could expect tornadoes.
Yes. Anytime you have a landfalling hurricane, it'll probably put us under a tropical or a tornado watch over southeast Texas, southwest Louisiana, back over towards Acadiana, maybe over towards New Orleans. I think all of southern Louisiana will be placed under a tornado watch, possibly even into southeast Texas. That's a potential.
Linda McQuillan wants to know how bad Nederland's going to get.
You probably see some tropical storm, low-end tropical storm force wind gusts, 39 plus miles an hour are possible. It doesn't mean it's going to be consistently that, but some 40, maybe 45 mile per hour wind gusts, hopefully not any more than that. That's where we're at this point, provided that this stays on track and heads towards, generally off towards the eastern Cameron or Vermilion Parish. Now, if that track changes, then that's going to obviously bring worse weather to our area if it's closer to us, obviously. If it's further down the coastline, it's even better news for us in southeast Texas.
Edgar Valencia wants to know, what time will updates be delivered?
Updates. There's a new update coming up at 7 p.m. That is very shortly. This is going to be updated from the National Hurricane Center. Then you've got one coming up at 10 p.m. So again, that's the very latest that we have, and we'll continue to keep you updated on air, on live air, and also on our website and on our Facebook and Twitter sites. And don't forget our app. Stay tuned and have a great evening, Southeast Texas.